Unhealthy spiritual guidance rarely enters as threat. It enters as belonging. It finds you at a moment when meaning matters deeply, when you are open, when you are searching, when you are sincere. It speaks in the language of purpose and destiny. You feel seen, you feel gathered, you feel chosen. At first, nothing feels wrong. The warmth is real, the connection feels alive, but slowly, almost without you noticing, the invitation changes shape. What once felt like welcome begins to feel like expectation. What once felt nourishing begins to feel demanding. You start measuring yourself before you speak. You start editing your inner life to remain acceptable. The soul notices this tightening before your mind even names it. There is a moment when unhealthy guidance stops pointing and starts positioning itself above you. Wisdom gives way to authority. Relationship gives way to hierarchy. And questions no longer deepen understanding, they create distance. Silence becomes safer than honesty. This conditions you to look outward for permission instead of inward for discernment. Spiritually, it teaches you to confuse obedience with devotion. You may feel faithful yet strangely smaller, devoted yet less alive. This is not growth. This is containment disguised as care. In unhealthy spiritual spaces, giving becomes proof. You give your time, energy, care, presence, and even loyalty. Each offering is affirmed, yet never sufficient enough. The moment you slow, guilt appears. The moment you rest, doubt is implied. Your generosity is praised while your needs are quietly being dismissed. The soul experiences this as grief without language. The mind experiences it as confusion. You wonder why giving no longer fills you, why service feels hollow. It is because true giving flows from fullness. When giving costs you yourself, it has crossed from sacred to extraction. Fear is never announced as fear in these environments. It arrives as warnings, implications, and stories. You hear what happens to those who leave, those who question, those who step back. Protection is implied to be conditional. Belonging feels fragile. Staying begins to feel safer than listening to what you sense. Fear binds the nervous system into compliance. It fractures trust. Anything that requires fear to survive is not guiding you towards life, it is keeping you available. The soul does not argue loudly, it just quietly withdraws. And you may notice numbness where connection once lived. You may feel distant from practices that once felt alive. You may think something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. The soul learned that presence was being used against you, so it protected itself. That withdrawal was not failure, it was preservation. Healing begins the moment you allow distance without justification. Space restores perception. Silence returns your inner voice. Healthy spirituality does not collapse when you step back. What is real remains accessible without demand. You begin to feel yourself again, not all at once, but gradually. Breath eases, choice returns. Quiet no longer feels dangerous. The soul begins to reappear because it senses safety. Hear this plainly. What came from God never required your disappearance. What was true never needed fear to hold you in place. What was meant to shape you would have enlarged your life, not narrowed it. You did not lose your spiritual path, you protected it. And you are not behind and you are not broken. You are restoring right relationship with yourself. And from that place, anything truly meant for you will meet you without demand, without fear, and without cost of your wholeness. There is a truth that runs parallel to a spiritual one. When a system asks you to surrender your capacity to think, it is not strengthening faith, it is weakening the person. And when a person is weakened long enough, their spirit learns to survive by being quiet. Welcome to Truth Tellers Mike. Let the class begin. Human beings are meaning making creatures. You do not merely follow beliefs, you live inside them. When a spiritual environment becomes unhealthy, it does not only distort your theology, it distorts your relationship to meaning itself. You begin to orient your life around approval rather than truth, around compliance rather than responsibility. This is not a small thing. From a psychological perspective, maturity is the ability to carry responsibility without collapsing, to choose rightly even when no one is right watching. From a spiritual perspective, maturity is the ability to carry responsibility without collapsing. Maturity is the same. God does not require puppets. God forms people who can stand upright, think clearly, and act wisely without being managed. Unhealthy guidance cannot tolerate this kind of person. When guidance becomes rigid, it often claims to be protecting order. But order that requires fear is not order, it is control. True order allows complexity. It allows questioning. It allows the tension of not knowing everything while still choosing to live responsibly. Your soul reacted when that false order demanded submission inside of growth. Psychologically, your system recognized threat. Spiritually, your discernment recognized overreach. Those two reactions were not in conflict, they were aligned. You were not being difficult, you were being intact. There is a reason unhealthy spiritual systems distrust thinking. Thought introduces responsibility, and once you can think, you can choose. Once you can choose, you are no longer controllable. God does not bypass the mind, God addresses it. Scripture itself is an invitation to wrestle, to discern, to test, to weigh. Anything that discourages this is not protecting holiness, it is protecting power. The soul that begins to think again begins to stand again. One of the most dangerous moments for an unhealthy spiritual environment is when an individual re-emerges. Not rebellious, not loud, simply present. Someone who no longer needs permission to exist as themselves. This is integration returning. This is stewardship being reclaimed. You stop outsourcing your moral spine. You stop confusing devotion with disappearance. You begin to live as someone accountable for their own life. And this is why leaving can feel terrifying and liberating at the same time. You are not just exiting a space. You are reclaiming authorship over your existence. Now comes the part that is rarely spoken. When you survive unhealthy spiritual guidance and recover your discernment, you carry responsibility. Not to warn everyone, not to fix institutions, but to live truthfully, to refuse fear based devotion, to model a spirituality that produces grounded people rather than dependent followers. That kind of life is prophetic without needing performance. You become someone whose presence does not require puppets or dominance. Someone whose faith does not need control. Someone whose thinking is not a threat to God, but an offering. That is the kind of person the world quietly needs. And that is who you are becoming. There comes a moment when the psyche and the spirit arrive at the same conclusion by different routes. The psyche says, this is costing me my ability to think. The spirit says, this is costing me my breath. When both arrive together, the moment is decisive, not dramatic, but decisive. Unhealthy spiritual guidance fails precisely here. It asks the person to trade responsibility for relief. It promises safety if you stop carrying your own judgment. That is regression. It is abdication. Neither produces a life that can stand when conditions change. This is why the soul reacts before the intellect finishes its analysis. The soul understands that a life lived without responsibility is not protected. It is brittle, easily can fall apart. And from a psyche standpoint, meaning is something you shoulder. It is not something you are handed complete. When a system claims to deliver meaning without asking you to carry it, the price is always the same. You must surrender capacity to choose. And this is where many stumble. They mistake intensity for truth and direction for wisdom. Yet anything worthy of devotion increases your ability to bear responsibility in the world. It does not relieve you of it. It does not infantilize you. It strengthens you so that you can stand upright in uncertainty without collapsing into fear or dependency. When guidance removes your ability and obligation to think, it removes your ability to live rightly when no one is watching. Unhealthy guidance often presents itself as order, but order depends on fear is not order at all. It is an eroding arrangement that cannot tolerate growth. Fear narrows perception. It reduces complex moral life into simple compliance. If you just do what I say, everything will be all right. Spiritually, fear replaces trust with control in that way. The soul senses this narrowing immediately. You feel it as constriction. Thought becomes risky. Silence becomes safer. The inner life becomes guarded. None of this is holiness, it is survival. A system that cannot tolerate your questions is not preparing you for life, it is preparing you for dependence. There is a profound spiritual error in treating thought as opposition. Thought is not rebellion. Thought is responsibility in motion. To think is to accept that you will answer for how you live. That is why unhealthy guidance discourages it. Here, the prophetic voice becomes firm. God does not ask you to stop thinking. God asks you to think rightly, to weigh, to discern, to test. Faith that cannot survive honest examination is not faith. It is compliance wearing sacred language. When you begin to think again after suppression, it feels dangerous only because your system has been trained to associate thought with punishment. That association fades with time and safety. What returns is strength. One of the most threatening things to an unhealthy spiritual environment is a person who has reclaimed responsibility. Not someone loud, not someone angry, someone present, someone who no longer needs permission to exist as themselves. And this is why departure feels both terrifying and relieving. You are not only leaving a place, you are accepting the burden of your own life again. That burden is not punishment, it is dignity. When you reclaim discernment, you are no longer easily managed. You become someone who must live truthfully, even quietly. This is not a call to confrontation, it is a call to integrity. You begin to notice that true spiritual authority does not dominate. It does not need constant affirmation. It produces people who can stand without supervision, people whose presence brings calm rather than anxiety, people's whose faith does not depend on constant stimulation or threat. That kind of life speaks without volume, it warns without accusation, and it guides without ownership. What meets you after unhealthy guidance will not rush you. It will not frighten you. It will not ask for your disappearance. It will respect your thinking. It will honor your limits. It will strengthen your ability to choose rather than replacing it. And you will feel more capable in ordinary life. Spiritually, you will feel less compelled to prove devotion through exhaustion. Your life will widen rather than narrow. And this is not retreat from spirituality, this is maturation. You did not lose faith, you outgrew fear based guidance. And that growth, though quiet, is still prophetic in its own right. What you walked through did not weaken you, it educated you. You encountered a form of guidance that demanded relief instead of responsibility, safety instead of truth, submission instead of growth. And something in you refused to surrender the parts that think, chooses, and stands upright when no one is directing you. That refusal was not defiance, it was maturity arriving ahead of schedule. You reached a point where meaning could no longer be borrowed. Spiritually, you reached a moment where devotion could no longer be confused with disappearance. Those two realizations converged because they always do. When guidance is real, it enlarges a person. When it is not, it narrows life until the soul quietly withdraws to protect itself. And you did not lose faith, you preserved it from being distorted. Unhealthy spiritual guidance always asks you to trade responsibility for relief. And the cost of the trade is your ability to think and choose when it matters most. Fear based devotion produces compliance, not wisdom. And anything that cannot survive honest examination is not forming strength. And when your inner life begins to tighten, that was not failure or lack of devotion, it was discernment asserting itself. Thinking is not opposition to God, it is participation. Responsibility is not a burden imposed by life, it is dignity entrusted to you. True spirituality produces people who can stand without supervision, live truthfully without applause, and act wisely even when certainty is unavailable. The return to your own judgment was not rebellion, it was restoration. Now you move forward carrying your life again, not as something managed by another, but as something entrusted to you. You no longer impressed by intensity. You are no longer governed by fear. You are no longer willing to exchange your breath for belonging. What meets you next will not demand access to your will. It will respect your thinking. It will honor your limits. It will strengthen your ability to live rightfully rather than replacing it with rules or threats. That is how you will know it's safe. You did not step away from truth. You stepped into responsibility. Thank you for visiting my channel. May your soul be blessed. Stay covered, stay conscious, stay undefeated. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye bye.